So, you have any favorite stop motion cartoons?
Oh yeah, pretty much one of my favorites while growing up was like Shaun the Sheep.
Shaun the Sheep.
Yeah, Shaun the Sheep.
hmm I remember. Well, Shaun the Sheep came out like something in the neighborhood of like 2010, 2011. Maybe that was just the first time I was seeing it.
Yeah, baby. But still, yeah, that was pretty much like my first like introduction, major introduction to like stop motion.
hmm
In
Yeah, I
fact,
can
like
understand that.
at the
Yeah.
time, I would have been like 8 years old while watching it. If it really did like come out in like 2010 or something.
Uh huh. And well, of course, Wallace and Gromit holds a very special place in my heart. But besides that, um, well, it's really just kind of hard to see. But besides that,
Yeah.
starting to hear a bit of an echo. I'm trying to figure out specifically where it's coming from.
Huh. I don't really hear all that much of an echo.
Okay, I mean, it's just really it's a microphone echo.
Okay.
Mm. Properties, desktop audio.
Mm-hmm.
Seems as though don't think I'm hearing. All right. Well, shucks. This hasn't happened in ages.
Really?
Yeah. Okay, well,
What's wrong?
I have no idea, but you know what? I'm just gonna go ahead. I'm gonna go to the vids, and then I'll work on fixing that.
Yeah.
Oh, psh. No, no, no! I'm such a ditz. I figured it out. I have the stream on my cell phone while it's on break, so just turn that off. That's where that's coming from.
All right.
Okay, so yeah, we're gonna go ahead. We're gonna go to videos now. Oh, brother.
All right.
Okay. So I went ahead and I pushed the add button, so we still got 2 minutes just in this screen. If you still want to talk.
Well, yeah, like pretty much when you look at like each other, like like technically face to face, like it looks like we're called a lad.
So is that the way that these shows always go is that Wallace has just come up with a new invention, and this time we're the new invention.
Yeah, but also looks like we got a P&W on our tanks that are pretty much connected to our heads, which I'm guessing stands for like Powerwash or something.
Yep.
Yeah, and that's the name of the game, literally.
Uh-huh. Oh. Let me kick the volume down on that a little bit.
Also, by the way, how do I look like, when I'm crouching?
I mean, you
like,
look like you're taking a single knee, just like every other one is, I can probably, yeah, uh-huh. Let's see if I can.
Hey, I just got a text from Wallace from the Chit Chat Matic or whatever it is. Like,
yeah.
I say, wash lads, so pick up quick off the blocks. Oh my god, I'm probably gonna be stumbling over my words over like how English lad it is. Like, we should have some instructions, or who knows what'll happen. Alright, let's try. Alright. Yeah, probably,
Izzy, you're gonna have to keep on your toes there, lad.
Alright, apparently, like, command clean kitchen and dining room ASAP. Alright, I'll give him that. Seems pretty universal.
And then Gromit.
Emoticon.
Then Gromit just disappears in another room and gets a sponge.
Yeah.
All right.
Probably gonna keep an eye on things so we don't go haywire or something.
Yeah.
All right. Could be in this very room.
So.
Hold on. You're right, Gromit. Where are my manners? How's about? Apparently the emoticon was like Gromit interjecting a bit.
Yeah. Just making emoticon interjections. Okay, let's do the video now, and then we can get back to the plot.
All right.
Okay. Hey there, it's Brainy. April is Autism Awareness Month, and I'd like to raise some cash for the month to donate to the Autism Self-Advocacy Network. So, how am I going to do that? Well, allow me to demonstrate. This is a fish stick. Not very interesting, is it? But what if I dressed it in a flight jacket and sunglasses? That do anything for you? No? Well, how about if I turned it into a festive party clown? This isn't like an NFT. I like to call them ARTs, or actually realized tokens. I wish there was a single word name that I could call them, but anyway. If you donate a minimum of $20 to my campaign via the links in my stream, and then email me at brainytherpgcat@gmail.com or join my Discord, I will be more than happy to send you a transparent PNG of one of these lovely fish sticks. Keep your requests safe for work, by the way. Oh, and 100% of the donations will go straight to ASAN. So, what have you got to lose? Donate to a good cause, and I'll draw on a fish stick for you. That doesn't sound as good when I say it out loud. Anyway, thank you very much for your support. Happy April, everybody.
This fearless caddis is the raddest, has skills of the baddest, magic, slinging busting for status, practically unmatched, runs all of the gamut, in fact, he's a reference games and chatting, bent wizardly hatting, questing, stacking, napping, this cat diversified, witty banter, seeking kitty answers, roll 20 to scamper, tune in, and enjoy the ride, Brady, the RPG cat. Brady, the RPG cat.
Hello, cats and kittens, felines and felidae, humans and variant humans, and every race, class, and subclass. Welcome to the second half of today's installment of Brainy the RPG Cat. So I am here with my most frequent co-star. This is Mimi Bunny, also who plays QB on our actual play.
Yes, that's correct. It is me, QB, and Mimi the Bunny at the same time, and we are apparently lads.
Yep.
Literally.
So, yeah, and we gotta keep on our toes, lads, because we're playing Wallace and Gromit Powerwash Simulator. Oh, I should have changed the category on that. So, Wallace and Gromit always was just one of my all-time favorites. I'm still trying to think about a second, and maybe it's telling that I'm having a hard time thinking of a close second.
Yeah, well, for me, I'm actually, somewhat connected to, Wallace and Gromit from a young start, since I was pretty much a big fan of Shaun the Sheep, which is, also connected to Wallace and Gromit.
Yeah, character in the third movie.
Yeah.
All right, well, we're going to go ahead and we're going to see what we can make out of this little custard-covered mess I'm about here. It
also looks like there's some strawberry jam involved.
Yeah. So first things first, don't forget that April is Autism Awareness Month. I am doing a month-long campaign with Autistic Self Advocacy Network is donate $20 or more to my campaign. I will do an art commission for you in the form of a fish stick ART. I'm going to take a fish stick gum and then I'm going to draw whatever you request on it. That will be your reward from me for helping me with this very important cause. Okay,
That's correct. It's very important, and I am also autistic, so I also provide some more to the cause.
Yep. So we're all gonna. Okay, so yeah, you may now spray with impunity.
Right, and also, by the way, did you notice, like, right here, there's a ceiling hatch?
Yeah. Well, because it's Wallace's house. I don't think they've ever used the attic. They're bigger fans of the basement, which is probably another segment of this.
Yeah, most likely. Anyway, according to the lore, we're one of the two of us are Wallace's latest invention, and then he's still trying to, like, work out the kinks of us, and like he sent us some commands, or kind of worked out some commands, in which the last text he sent was because it meant that he needs to be more polite. I with it and said, like, clean the kitchen and dining room ASAP, please.
It's as soon as humanly possible, even though you technically aren't human. I don't know if that's offensive or not.
Probably not.
No, that's really going to mean something when Robot Awareness Month comes around.
Yeah, and we all kind of know, the sorts of, consequences that could come with, robots getting awareness.
I'm very happy right now because I've actually uncovered the famous prize marrow in the living room.
The marrow?
Yeah, the marrow is that Gromit's prize squash that happens to be
inside
of a window. Yeah.
Looks like I cleaned off the decorative squirrel plate.
So Wallace and Gromit it's known for a lot of things, but probably
especially for being very Englished.
Well, probably what is important when it comes to Powerwash Simulator is that they're known for creating just this enormous static environment in miniatures, which is something that is just a feat in itself for a stop motion animated feature. But there are so
they even got the little toy train tracks.
So they're so well loved by all, it is more likely that they just dust these things off of a British museum and then make another movie with them.
Yeah, most likely.
Oh,
hey, it's a crackerback.
Is that my
where's this for again?
Bedford, North New Hampshire crackerback? Say, ex-NASA patent pending. Fantastic for walkies.
Yes, indeed. I'm pretty much following this little these little train tracks.
Is that most infamous for the train chase scene in The Wrong Trousers? So that in and of itself just brilliant that they have a old-fashioned train chase, but it actually takes place on model trains in the middle of the living room.
Yeah, yes, indeed. No, so that reminds me, they did make a Robo Trousers, right?
Well, Techno Trousers, technically. I think it was just that Wallace had souped them up a little bit after he had got them from NASA, but that was also part of the plot, is that he spent a lot of money on them, and that's why he had to rent the room to the Penguin.
Oh my god, yeah, that guy was the villain, yeah.
Yeah, Feathers McGraw.
Oh my lord, that thing is a sociopath.
Dispenser of vengeance most foul. Although,
so I got the little train right here. I remember, part in that movie, Gromit pretty much had to rapidly lay down the train tracks while, in the train chase.
Yeah. So that was a very special because it is one of the few examples of what they call motion blur in a stop motion animated film. Is that motion blur happens all the time in traditional animated shows because they just skip a few frames and then they just draw multiples of a single character's arm doing a motion very quickly. For Wallace and Gromit, though, they really did just have to stick extra arms on Gromit's model so that he can continue to lay the train tracks on the ground at what looked like a rapid speed.
Yeah.
So those were in the first two films. They were just directed by Nick Park. He did everything right down to every single frame of animation. It just got a lot more elaborate after that. And so he required other people to get involved.
Uh-huh.
Mm-hmm. And, there's a part of me that feels like, okay, well, A Grand Day Out was great.
Hold on, we got some more, a chit-chat-o-matic lore or drops for us here.
Yeah.
Or watch the law, I'm sorry. You're showing a clean pair of heels. Eh, Gromit? Oh, yeah, and a bit of nice emoticon to signify that Gromit is a fact, in the chat, apparently. Chit-chat-o-matic.
Yeah.
Yield in Discord.
Yes.
Tad worried every corner will be covered, though, suggesting a teensy tweak.
What do I always bring up? Yield, Usenet, BBS message board.
Oh, yes.
Uh-huh.
Command, completely clean everything in the kitchen and dining room ASAP, please.
Mm-hmm. So we've just opened up the other two, well, two of the other two.
Yeah, two of the other two.
Mm.
Two of them. But anyway, looks like we're doing a great job here.
Yep. I mean...
Looks like Gromit put a little bit of a, looks like a shocked emoticon here.
Master could not be more proud. So...
Hey, look at this thing. It got sharp teeth.
See, I don't know what you're...
Come on, the wallpaper will hardly be stripped off, will it, eh? I mean, yeah, pretty much. Even with our, strong power washing equipment, the wallpaper is still, completely intact. Gromit?
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 Gromit!
Gromit?
Alright.
Alright.
Gromit, do something! In addition to the very efficient job that is being done by my robots.
Well, apparently we're most typically called the wash lads.
Mm-hmm.
And also, yeah, completely forgive me for probably stumbling over my words. There's probably gonna be hundreds of times, as because of just how overwhelmingly English it is.
Mm-hmm. Well, it is off that I shuffle to Wilsory and find my pet Hermione, and we could get into a little bit of the old rum-tum terry, if you know what it's there.
Also, by the way, did you realize that we kind of look like Gromit in some kind of sense?
Maybe a little bit.
Yeah, right, a little bit. We have, the things that, flip up to let our arms out, kind of look like ears, and, of course, we have this massive tube with a black thing on, that kind of looks like, the snoot,
well,
and the black nose.
We fit right in with the background. Yes, it's
Yes.
always one of the highlights of a DLC pack for Powerwash Simulator.
Whatever we are, or be it human or not, always change. He just fit the setting.
Mm-hmm. So I don't know what your access to Netflix is. I don't know if you've seen the most recent movie.
I have not.
You should. It is really great. Is that there's a moment in there that I was hoping Wallace was going to do for a very, very long time.
And what was that?
Well, not to give too much away, but it is basically that he actually says something appreciative about Gromit.
Oh.
I mean, that's part of, just their
I
usual
must even
shtick.
happen
Is
to hear
that,
that caused like the inside of this little lamp to get, filthy.
is that clean off the breakfast placard? As I was looking up and down that, and I thought slippers actually said strippers.
But
Gromit, go fetch me slippers, lad.
oh my god, imagine like you actually did hear like as fetch me some strippers, lad.
Say, these strippers have been completely and totally worn out. They're all loose and floppy.
My word, if either of us did anything, it would probably be like throwing a sausage down a hallway.
Well,
hold on, we got more lore.
Yeah.
Have a mo, what if a wash lad moves things about?
Things about what?
And have a hiddly piddly kitchen, I'd never find me crackers. Of course.
All higgly piggly. Higgly, I can't even say it.
Of course, like the Gromit sent
higgledy.
hey, I'm done with this shit kind of like emoticon.
Says, we feel like we know so much about the English, but we know so little because we only pick it all up from their comedy. And their comedy is probably the furthest thing from how they are as a society.
Yeah, exactly. Plus, born and raised in America. Not like I would know.
Yep. You don't get a good communicative framework from Monty Python.
Right. There are some who call me Tim.
Yes, well, I can see you're a very busy man.
It's but a scratch.
See? So there you go. I mean, probably one of the single most quoted movies of all time. I was always a slightly bigger fan of The Meaning of Life, but, I watched that for the first time when I was 17 years old, and I really felt like I was getting away with something.
Oh yeah, you mean like back in the Stone Age?
Uh-huh. Well,
Exactly.
those movies are older than me, so what does that make them?
Prehistoric.
Yeah, well, say, I'm your modern Stone Age family, and don't you forget it.
Yeah, I know.
Uh-huh.
What would I be without you?
Say, I don't know. Offhand, you would probably be still be streaming for yourself. Is that,
Yeah, but I probably also would have been like a substantially even worse wreck than I am right now, and that's saying something.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Cute little hedgehog photo on the wall.
Oh yeah. And also speaking of like what I said before, like there's also a picture of sheeps here.
Uh-huh.
Which, some sheep reference.
Yep. Say, I am relatively ambivalent to that hedgehog!
Oh dear, how that hedgehog troubles me so! Jeez, metal hedgehog!
Gromit, fetch me mean bean machine! There's, the Robotnik in Adventures of Sonic the Hedgehog was played by Long John Baldry, who is also a very prominent British jazz musician.
Yeah.
And so
I've heard kind of jokes when Pokemon Scarlet and Violet came out that pretty much Violet was if Eggman actually got his shit together. Or the one you want Smart Sonic? I am done on mechanicalizing squirrels and other rats that I find over in the park. Look, I'm done. I'm absolutely done fucking around. You better make sure those running shoes are still toe caps because I'm mechanizing Tyrannotars now.
Shit. That was words in an arrangement.
Yes, it was. One might say it takes a mind to come up with something like that, and many would say a broken mind, but a mind nonetheless.
Oh wow, there's a whole bunch of stuff in that wardrobe, wasn't there?
Talk about a wardrobe malfunctioning.
Mm-hmm. There is a small stuffed sheep inside of inside the china cabinet.
Aw, oh yeah, there it is.
Uh-huh. So, okay, the British Animation Awards, take place every single year, and they probably have one of the single most novel concepts for an award trophy, is they basically have animators draw a sheep, and then they give that to other animators as their trophy.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and so BAA, British Animation Awards, it's Ba. It means sheep.
Oh! Oh, well, yeah, I see, like a pretty much a play on words.
Yeah, so now you know where I get all these puns from.
Yeah, now I know. And I have no idea why, but I have I feel like it's a bit of spite, specifically towards the English, has gotten a bit more prevalent.
Well,
Not too sure why.
I mean,
Uh-huh.
you know how you are truly versed in British comedy is that when you stop liking Mr. Bean and you start liking Blackadder.
Yeah, it's true.
Uh-huh. Indeed, quite right.
Yes, indeed.
It's amazing, just to see the sheer range Rowan Atkinson has, because that is a comedy of words, and Mr. Bean is not a comedy of words. He did this third series on Netflix, but it was kind of mediocre. I mean, I think he was trying to strike a balance between the two, but I don't feel like it quite worked.
Yeah. Yeah, it's sort of like how playing other things like that. Like, it's either you have to be that guy or not be that guy. Like,
And it's, well, especially telling if you are well known for being two guys.
Yeah, exactly.
Say, is Boldrick, help me get my head out of this turkey!
Well, also, overall, it looks like we're doing a pretty good job.
Yep. Alright. Clean, clean, clean. We like clean.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Yep, but it's not really, we can really like anything because, we're machines.
Uh-huh.
I mean, at least I think.
We cannot leave my cherished childhood memories this soiled.
Yes, indeed. You have to make sure they're spick and span.
Uh-huh.
And the spickier, the spanier.
Say, the spanner is what you call a wrench in England.
Oh, yeah.
Uh-huh.
Huh. I just unintentionally made a bit of a British pun.
Okay, that actually reminds me. Okay, there is a second when it comes to favorite stop motion films from England. There was just this very short series called Dick Spanner Private Eye, and it was produced by Gary Anderson, the same guy who made the Thunderbirds puppet shows. And it is, yeah, so it's about a detective who is also a robot, and his name is Dick Spanner, and he's trying to solve a case. And just the entire thing is like a very, very long litany of film noir style narrations, set to some very, very surreal looking environments. Is that, lots of characters are just some of the most bizarre things that you can possibly see in a model form.
Uh-huh.
And so that is my other favorite British stop motion is Dick Spanner Private Eye. I'll have to send that to you, or also we can do a watch party for that one.
Perhaps.
Mm-hmm.
Although, I'll be honest, like, Dick Spanner kind of sounds like, something you would probably stumble upon when on some shady sites.
Mm-hmm. Well, say, do you rather he call himself Richard?
Yes.
I mean, do you know how many times that this very series tends to make nut jokes?
Oh my god.
I mean, you see, Curse of the Were-Rabbit had probably more dirty jokes than 90 minutes of Benny Hill would have had.
Oh my god, like, I actually remember watching Curse of the Were-Rabbit when I was younger, and
Yeah.
I didn't really watch it until the end because, like, younger me was actually scared watching it.
Yeah. I mean, there's a certain intense quality to it, but it's because they have a tendency in order just to take what is dramatic about it and then just play it real super straight, which I think helps a lot with the comedy. But it's quite literally, they were going off for that, 1940s Frankenstein, Wolfman kind of aesthetic.
Yeah, except it was a lagomorph. So in fact, that is what rabbits are classified as. Like, they're technically not rodents. They're lagomorphs. Which means technically I'm a lagomorph.
Yep.
Oh, hold on, we got some more lore. Right, ho, Gromit, I have another crack at Wash Lad's commands, so what do you reckon? Alright. Alright, command, completely clean everything in the kitchen and dining room, but don't strip the wallpaper or move things around ASAP, please.
This,
Right.
don't strip the wallpaper, or we need to be back at the British Museum by sundown.
And Grandma sent another emoticon, kind of looking not so sure, I think.
So there
Sorry,
was
even though I could typically have some problems like reading emotions, like it's even harder like read an emoticon. Huh. Yes, too wordy. There must be a simpler way. Engaging a thinking cap. Alright. Huh. This thing is kind of weird. Bernie, do you know what this is?
I'm sorry.
Like this,
Okay.
like this snowman looking thing?
That is the Auto Chef. It was from a series of short films that aired on the internet called Cracking Contraptions.
Oh.
So they've like reused the design several times. It pops up a lot in the video games.
Oh, yeah.
And so, well, it was a situation. It was probably one of the. No, actually, that was a different short. But really, it's just the fact that it overloaded and exploded while saying the word knickers.
Oh, good God.
Uh
Imagine if it stuttered.
huh.
You know, kind of like the fear of what if you stutter when saying bigger? Oh, cereal boxes.
I've been there. They done that. They don't let me in the Denny's anymore.
I thought they would have let anybody like Wallace there at Denny's.
Look, Gromit, absolutely everything is covered in cheese.
Oh, good Lord, no.
There's
That's
cheese on
probably
the
why they want to
toast.
keep.
There's cheese on the toast for some reason. Why didn't I ever think of that? I eat a lot of cheese.
That's why they probably don't want Gromit anywhere near a Denny's.
I eat a lot of cheese, and I eat a lot of toast. Why did...
Of all the things, why wouldn't I think about cheese on toast?
See, I think I've got my
Oh,
latest
speaking of which, I
invention.
just found like a picture of cheese. Like, yeah, look, over here, like I just found a framed picture of a block of Swiss cheese.
Yep. So, no doubt, like I said, this is more than likely just something that has always been in the background.
Yeah, most likely.
So,
Because you know him.
Wallace
It's
and
cheese.
yeah, Wallace and Gromit was famous for saving several factories that produced Wensleydale cheese, and which is now considered to be the singular most British cheese available at most grocery stores.
Oh, so they're kind of like a hero to that company, huh?
Yeah. Well, it's I know that there was a lot of articles that were saying that Aardman Animations, a factory that frequently made the clay that they use to make their stop motion models, was shutting down. You know, but and people were treating it as oh no, there aren't going to be any more Aardman shorts anymore. They bought clay from another company. That's how they fixed that. Animation news. There's nothing short of the greatest panic whenever something is read out in animation news.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, well, we've all been dealing with the fallout of Warner Brothers, now Ketchup Entertainment. And
yes, especially since it looks like they are really desperate to just like piss on everything that has gotten them to anywhere near the amount of wealth that they've could have ever had.
Mm-hmm.
But anyway, we got more lore. Eureka! I've got to Gromit. Oh boy, what's he thinking now? Oh, I command please return our kitchen and dining room to home sweet home status. Okay. Okay, I'll be honest, like, that's actually kind of good, like, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like, when you, like, think of, like, a command. Oh, and yeah, he even said, Gromit even said, like, a heart emoticon, so, yeah, looks like the best thing.
Is that, yeah, he just kind of wants to get his kitchen back.
Yeah, back to normal.
Uh-huh. All of his good stuff is in here. The rolling pin that he threatened that penguin with is in here.
Yes, a potato masher. Also some containers here, tea, sugar, and coffee.
Uh-huh. So, that's probably what I have to do. I have to grab a bunch of British stop motion, and then we have to do a watch party.
Yeah.
We'll show Dick Spanner, we'll show all of Cracking Contraptions.
Also, Shaun the Sheep.
Uh-huh.
So you're not the only one forcing what you like upon me.
Oh, yeah, sure. Well,
Yeah, we need...
I personally like Shaun the Sheep. It's probably the one thing that I ever watch on Netflix when I'm bored.
All right.
I mean, I like to, I'll watch movies because people recommend them, because I've heard good things about them, and then I'll just get on Netflix and I'll watch that one movie and then I'll move on. But, if I'm just in front of the TV and I have Netflix, I will turn on Shaun the Sheep. Because it's smart, it's easy, it's digestible. It's
yeah,
the
like
same.
I remember like one episode of Shaun the Sheep where with the main conflict of the episode was the biggest sheep there had the hiccups and pretty much everyone was going crazy trying to make it stop.
Mm-hmm.
Only for the hiccups to be cured when it saw the farmer accidentally moon the entire her flock, while using the toilet.
Yeah.
And pretty much it scared it, so it screamed. And yeah, hiccup scared.
I like the movie.
Mm-hmm.
This is a movie the farmer gets amnesia and then he gets picked up by a barbershop and
Yeah,
he
exactly,
suddenly
because
becomes
he's really good at shearing.
he becomes the best hair designer in the shop because he can't remember anything but he can remember shearing.
All you can remember is shearing. And pretty much everybody loved the style so much, so then yeah.
So there's a little bit of trivia. Is I believe that at one point it was Baby Spice from the Spice Girls was seen with a Shaun the Sheep backpack. And this was before the series had come out. It had to have been a Shaun the Sheep backpack from the third Wallace and Gromit movie. It was really just the fact that, Aardman animators managed to see Shaun the Sheep on a very famous celebrity that they decided to make the entirety of the series.
Really?
Yep. It says we can really have something when it comes to Shaun the Sheep. And then they made the series afterwards.
Yeah.
So, I don't have anything, I don't have anything good or bad to say about the Spice Girls. I think Say You'll Be There is the most listenable song, and probably nothing else.
Well, I don't really know, like, what any of, like, the Spice Girls even are, so...
Uh-huh. Well, it was a thing in the 90s.
Of course it was.
Uh-huh.
The Dark Ages.
Yeah. When men were men and
those men had
wrists
quite a few
were,
things to worry about.
well, I was going to say wrists were incredibly red because of slap bracelets.
Oh yeah. Incredibly. And pretty much most of the things they had to worry about were incredibly dangerous toys made by toy companies.
Mm. You could get a good action figure for maybe about $8.
I'm talking about things like moon shoes.
Oh yeah, well, we weren't the
I
generation
can
that had it
scarcely
that
imagine
badly.
just how my ankles were like completely fractured.
No.
Or during the reign of moon shoes.
Okay. We didn't have it bad. You know who had it bad? The kids from the 1970s. Okay.
Oh god, that's right.
Lawn darts. Mr. Potato Head was real in the 1970s. You would really have a kid who had a toy of a slowly rotting vegetable in their bedroom.
What?
And so that's what he was. He was made of an abundance of sharp pieces that you poked into an actual potato.
Oh my god, man.
Nowadays they have them in the form of like a D&D beholder.
Yeah.
Yeah, not really feeling the whole returning to native D&D practices thing happening.
Yeah, probably like any time soon.
Uh-huh.
As long as Hasbro still lives.
Uh-huh. Yeah, right. So things are looking just about proper. Let me see what we still have left on the list. Okay, toy train tracks, kitchen windowsill, kitchen washing up liquid. You have to spray the bottle of dish soap on the kitchen sink. Okay, and then the teapot, the kitchen sink itself, and then the oven, the knife rack, the fridge door, the fridge, the kitchen drying rack, the door handles, the cupboards, the cooking pot, the cooking tools, the kitchen bin.
Yep, I got the wash. Yes,
Yeah.
correct.
And then, well, an enormous amount in the dining room.
Yes.
Yeah, the majority of the dining room.
Yes, majority, the dining room. However, with the kitchen, we are almost done with the kitchen.
Mm-hmm.
Uh-huh. Alright, by the way, do you ever feel like there needs to be, like, some kind of, like, something that would have to, like, really set that something is, like, a steampunk?
Well, okay, I can appreciate steampunk because I actually did hang out in those circles for maybe about 3 or 4 years. It was one of those things that it was advantageous at the time. It helped me make a lot of friends, but then all those friends just kind of went in all sorts of different crazy directions, and now I don't talk to them anymore.
Yes, of course.
For
me, like, I think that,
like,
it has to be, like, what I think would, like, have to be needed to, like, truly have, like, like, steampunk is, like, like, have all these crazy inventions, like, like steam-powered jetpacks and using alligators as skateboards, but still be like amazed at the concepts of like things like animation as pictures that move. I can scarcely believe the miracle.
Yeah, I'm gonna stop you right there. I think that alligator skateboards is probably more of a Flintstones thing.
I kid you not. Like what I just said, like alligator skateboards, like that's actually from
Yeah.
actual art of what like people back in the Victorian age thought that
Uh,
the future was going to be like.
uh-huh. Well, I
So I'm
mean,
not joking.
yeah. So for me, steampunk is like it's the work of H.G. Wells and the work of I'm trying to remember his other name, but the person who uh well, okay. It's basically just a very specifically framed era of science fiction. Specifically the science fiction that actually came out of the Victorian era. You know, so this whole time that I was hanging out with the steampunk group is that, we're trying to do everything that we possibly could in order to come up with an events and things like that. Is that we had a theater showing of Sky Captain in the World of Tomorrow, which is a little bit later than most people consider steampunk to be. It's a little bit more early 1940s, just like the Rocketeer. And then some
Well,
people.
right, like what I'm asking is like, I'm not asking about that. Like what I'm saying is like I would see steampunk as like, things that are like pretty advanced, but also like in a time period where like, things would just people would still be confused by things that in the modern day.
Mm-hmm. Well, that was a very frequent debate as well, is that, people are of two schools when they do steampunk fandom. Some people are extremely nostalgic with the old days, warts and all, while other people, want to try to see if they can give the Victorian era another chance. And I'm kind of ambivalent about both of those ideas.
Wait a minute, there's a fandom?
Yes. I told you.
What, does everybody look like, Homer Simpson's grandfather? Like, you were
no.
born in a nursing home, you'll die in that same nursing home?
Okay, I will tell you the people who most frequented these things, they were all self-published authors.
Oh god, that sells it for me. Like, you
Uh-huh.
should never, ever, treat anything said by, like, a quote-unquote published author.
You
Or
want-
as anyone know, on the, like, you should trust him as, like, a Down syndrome kid who huffs the paint more than a, quote, self-published author.
I don't know. It's that I would actually want to look into that. Maybe that Down syndrome kid can paint real good. Oh, yeah. I just realized something. The entirety of the underside of the table is
Yeah, exactly.
also dirty. Yeah, so I gotta fix that. See, this is why all of those things were unchecked, is that it's probably just different parts of the kitchen table.
Yeah. And also, like, like the toy train tracks, too.
Mm-hmm. Is that nobody needs to dress up history for me, is that I know exactly what creek I'm in.
Prehistoric era?
Well, among other things.
But prehistoric era is still included.
Mm.
Oh, so it's radio, too. Let's see.
Alright.
Oh, I got that. Try to clean up some loose head.
Mm-hmm.
Let me see around here. Oh, we're at like a 98% done.
Yep. Okay, so then those very last sets: dining room rug, dining room reading table, dining room plant table, plant pot, pitcher, phone table, and phone.
Yes, that's right.
Mm-hmm. So, just in case you were in any way confused, that is what a phone used to look like.
Right, I do know what a rotary phone is.
Well, you know, just putting things in, locking things in reversed gear shift. That is what that's what I'm doing there.
Do I get that?
Let's see. Yeah, nightstands. I always thought when I was younger that nightstand, it was just a much more adult thing for some reason. And it's kind of screwed up to say that maybe when I was 14 years old, I actually knew what the context of a nightstand is without associating it with a piece of furniture.
I mean, like, technically, like, you could have any kind of table, like, next to your bed, and that would be technically considered a nightstand.
Mm-hmm. For me, cartoons lasted 6 hours on the long end, and then afterwards we had to watch the grown-up shows, like Moonlighting and Cheers.
What?
Moonlighting was the first show that Bruce Willis was ever on. And Cheers, well, I think everybody basically knows what Cheers is.
I don't.
Okay, sitcom takes place entirely in a bar. That's Cheers.
I thought you said Cheers.
No, I said Cheers.
Yeah, no, but I still thought you said Cheers, like, you know, like...
We're very much in the sheep joke frame of mind right now.
Yeah, we are.
Uh-huh.
But you can't blame me too much for it. I'm literally right next to, like, a statue of a sheep right now.
Mm-hmm. Alright. So...
Got that.
Okay, we're at 99% now.
Alright.
Okay, rug, reading table, pitcher, and phone table. Okay, we're going into our first ad break. Thank you everybody for staying tuned in. We'll be back after this 2-minute word from Twitch. I mean, so this clock over here, that was actually part of the 4th Wallace and Gromit movie.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so that one was actually based on, what would you call it? Murder suspense.
Okay.
It was called A Matter of Loaf and Death.
Damn.
So Wallace and Gromit were bakers in it, and then there just happened to be somebody who was serial killing every baker in town.
Oh my god, I think I actually
Yeah.
might have seen like a trailer for it.
Mm-hmm. Well, I mean, there's more than likely a way that you can just see the whole thing on like YouTube Premium, something like that.
But also, yeah, that's actually pretty dark for something like a Wallace and Gromit movie, like, you know, a fucking baker serial killer?
I mean, any less than having a penguin point a revolver at you?
That would make it confusing, but honestly, like, you know, like, what makes something, like, more dark is that, you know, it would actually be realistic.
Well, I think, a lot of this is just Nick Park himself, is that he is definitely somebody who graduated from the Alfred Hitchcock School of Filmmaking.
Oh.
So yeah, what people really love about Wallace and Gromit in England itself is that they take every single cliched type of live action drama that frequently runs on BBC, and then they just make fun of it. That's what Wallace and Gromit basically is.
Oh.
The only exception would be A Grand Day Out, but that's just because it was the first time that they ever used the characters for anything.
Yeah. And also, like, I remember, in the trailer, or, I think for that, pretty much Wallace saying, well, the Studebaker probably doesn't have a new rolling pin. And pretty much reads in the paper, and he also has a new rolling pin.
Mm-hmm. Well, that's another thing, is that in that fourth movie, a lot of the bakers died because they were clubbed by rolling pins.
Ooh, yeah.
Alright. So, we're still at 99. Same four things are highlighted.
Uh-huh.
And apparently there's a small part of the train tracks.
Yep.
It says
we go, got that.
We like to clean the train tracks.
Oh, and we got the framed marrow. Oh, let's see around here.
So the other day I was watching my good friend Space Pirate K playing what was a business sim, but instead of TCG cards, they were in a slot car hobby shop.
Yeah.
And that's basically what all these little business sims do. Okay, of course you're a clerk, and of course you sell things to customers, but then you also just get to take the little toy car and then put it on the track and then play with that for a little bit.
Uh-huh. I think I remember playing with slot cars when I was really young.
Mm-hmm. I mean, the slot car hobby is a lot different from when it was when I was young, because they literally had slots, and you put them in the slots, and then they magnetized around the track. But these days, it's that they're just very miniature cars that they go around in a plastic track that has high walls in it, so they bump, and then they immediately start traveling in the same direction that they were going. That's the more hobby type of slot card. It looks fun, but I'd never get into it, is that I think I probably maxed out on stupid things I regularly do.
Like I said, I played that when I was around with that with my grandparents, and I was really young.
You get a lot of people who are into miniatures, and it really isn't about anything else like tabletop gaming like it is with me, but it is just the miniatures. Creating the miniature city with miniature houses and miniature kitchens and itty-bitty little plates inside of the itty-bitty kitchen.
I still don't really get it. Like with me, when I was a kid, it was just haha, playing with toy cars, vroom.
Yeah. I mean, well, that's basically where any hobby comes from, is that you do the one thing that you think is fun and interesting, and then you just keep doing it, to the detriment of your friends and family members.
Oh.
Let me tell you is that, I have been...
Oh, they got the train tracks.
I've definitely been driving my loved ones bonkers with this concept of trying to go full-time with streaming. Okay. Time to... Okay, I see the kitchen windowsill. Okay, so this area here is still got some dirt on it.
Which area?
The windowsill.
Hold on. Hold on a second. I think it's like this reading table here.
Okay, it's time
yep, I see it. There we go.
It's time for Mr. Angry Spigot.
I think we have like the entire window. I think it's actually like the cracker vac body.
No,
yes.
Well, okay, there is like two parts of the cracker vac that still need cleaning. All right.
Yeah, exactly. So quit looking at the windows so it doesn't even show like there's anything left on there.
This would be a whole...
Oh, hold on. There we go.
This would be a whole mech in a different DLC.
Entire mech, huh?
Uh-huh.
Like what, Neon Jemison, Wallace, and Gromit?
We got into this when we started playing Warhammer, is that now I'm compelled to make a miniature cracker vac in order to add to my Warhammer collection.
Can you imagine like something like that actually being like some sort of something that would like imagine like a set of Wallace and Gromit, something like that would be made for the Warhammer verse?
I've actually seen that before.
What?
I have to find a JPEG, but it is really just one JPEG of Wallace in the techno trousers, but the techno trousers were taken from one of the Space Marines.
Oh. Also, I found the thing that needs to be cleaned, like over here and here in the kitchen.
All right.
Pretty much the top of this cabinet right here.
You're standing on top of the soap bottle, and it's like you're hovering.
Right?
Like just the top half of this right here?
The top part.
Okay.
There we go.
Okay, well... It was
And also
certainly
the door.
dirty, but... Okay.
Also the door.
Yeah.
Huh. The washing liquid is called Bub Up.
Yeah.
Come on.
You want to have a clean kitchen, get your bub up. Mild English exclamation.
Yes, so you'll have to be polite about it.
Is this
Oh, and the refrigerator door. Oh wait, hold on. Oh yeah, at the top of the refrigerator too.
Well, for one, I've never, understood the English proper stereotype because those guys could really serve some cunt. Those guys could, devastate you in a handful of sentences without breaking into a sweat, I'm pretty sure...
I know, right? They could pretty much, and they could pretty much pull out the slurs that they typically only use to insult God.
Well, that is, they're still a lot more. They're a lot more literate. They're a lot more literate, and they're probably a lot better at insulting than Americans are.
Yeah. Oh, also, it looks like we have to finish up with the hatch.
Uh huh.
Alright, there we go.
Uh huh. Okay, the head of the auto chef.
Okay, the head.
Mm-hmm. Maybe you need to, take the top off.
Dude.
Yeah, but I barely know him.
Is there something that lets us, take a certain command that lets us take his head off? Or...
No. Although that was kind of part of the prevailing gag, is that anytime you see him, it is usually just his head being used as a regular kitchen appliance.
Oh, hold on. It's also the kitchen vent.
Okay.
There we go.
And then the kitchen windowsill.
It doesn't look like it's a kitchen window.
Hey, I'm just going by the list. Maybe they mean the windowsill on the door?
What we actually have to look for is the ones that we haven't really, earned from yet. You see, like, what we want is the dining room door handle.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Yes. Turn the other way, Gromit. I'm going to need to polish the knob. Absolutely no adult jokes happened the entirety of the time I was streaming in the morning.
Yeah, but then I show up, and, here we go.
Wallace and Gromit
also,
are playing their part when it comes to it.
And also, we're gonna have to get the radio. Alright, there we go.
Mm-hmm.
Alright, then, like, the jam ballista body. Oh, right here.
Jam ballista, okay. Yeah. It was the gadget, the gadget that he uses to eject the jam. I would actually characterize that a bit more as a catapult.
So, a jam, a catapult.
Not necessarily a trebuchet, because then that would require a jam counterweight.
Yeah. Okay, there we go.
And then what would you use for, like, a jam counterweight? Maybe a particularly hard crumpet, I don't know.
Alright, now we have only one left. The kitchen windowsill.
Mm-hmm. Give it all you got, lad!
Hold on, which part of the window catches, like, the windowsill?
That's the area between the, glass.
Oh.
So, I don't know. I'm using the pressure. Maybe you can use the sweep, and eventually we'll...
Window. Wait, hold on.
Oh, maybe also the area,
it's right
underneath
here.
and on
We
the
got
bottom.
it.
All right.
Oh wait, hold on.
Okay, and the flower pot.
Yeah. No, not that pot.
Okay, so now they're getting nitpicky. Okay, we need the forks on the dining room table. We need the drawers in the kitchen cabinet and the kitchen door handles.
All right.
Use the forks, Gromit.
Forks. Aha, got the forks. Kitchen cabinet drawers. Okay.
Gotta get that little space between the oven.
And also the kitchen door handles. Oh, there's one. There we go.
So, QB, why do they call it an oven when you...
They call it an oven?
No, well, okay. You have apparently not heard of that one. It was the internet's favorite joke for a stretch of time.
When? When it was still, like, you know, incredibly early concept?
No, last year. Give me a break.
Crazy, you know I'm not literate in barely anything.
I'm
Like, I
hip.
deliberately do not, like,
Okay.
keep up with things like internet trends.
Uh-huh.
And also, we're finally done.
Yeah. I wouldn't call anything on the internet to be illiterate. I mean, unless you're... You know, unless you're actually looking up Shakespeare on a PDF site, then yeah, nothing on the internet I would consider to be literate.
Alright, we're done with that, and now we can continue on with Wallace and Gromit's house.
Well, this is regrettably probably one of the only DLCs that doesn't have vehicles, but then I would kind of labor to think, okay, what would they actually do?
Yeah.
I mean...
Alright, let's see here. Or like, Gromit, where's the wash lad got to? This virus has covered our shop for 13 and psychomatic contraptions, our front yards in the right state. Whatever will the neighbors think? Time to roll up our sleeves. Alright, let's start the job.
Alright. Okay, so we're in the yard.
Yeah, we are. Oh, and we got Laura already. Ever so keen on this new contraption of ours, Gromit. Ever so keen.
Yes.
We need to make sure Wash Lad is on the right track. Nothing.
Seriously, Baldy, I've got mace.
Yeah, come on, don't patronize us, Walter. Come on, please give the garden washables in front of house your best buffering.
Typically my internet does buffering automatically.
Yeah, sometimes my brain even buffers when like it's face says something I don't really understand, and he says like, "That should do it, oh, hey, old pal." And yeah, gravel looks so good with it. But this looks like a nice garden.
Oh, yeah, definitely. So, there's a surprising amount of just garden as a setting in Wallace and Gromit.
Oh.
So, there's no doubt, you know, they have the infamous rock garden that flips over and then has a couple of decorative lawn gnomes on it.
Yeah, it also looks like this soccer ball is completely untouched by whatever happened. Let's see right here.
So there's that scene in the Close Shave where they leave using a motorbike, and then halfway on the motorbike their pond flips over and then it becomes solid cement, and then there's a little gnome that's holding a stop and go sign.
What? Let's see right here. Let's see right here. Ah, got the garden pathway.
Mm-hmm.
Alright, let's see around here. Huh, it looks like we can actually lay outside like our little place here.
Yep.
Uh-huh, right? Sweet.
Mm-hmm.
Hmm.
Hey.
Huh. We got some more lore. Oh, Sockeye Magic was clogged with cheese! Wait, cheese? That's what this is?
Yeah,
But our
I think
precious
so.
Winsley, get in there. I thought the Wallace would have already cleaned this up in a matter of milliseconds if he just licked all the cheese off.
I believe that even Wallace is a little bit above licking his dog's kennel.
Oh, yeah.
Uh,
Let's see. Oh, thank goodness for the old magic sponge.
I like cheese, but I'm not a garbage disposal, for crying out loud.
Yes, despite my love for cheese, I do have some dignity.
Alright.
Oh, watch lads are playing a blinder. I have no idea what that means.
Playing a blinder?
Yeah.
That's one on me, too.
Alright, also got that.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, looks like this thing is Preston.
Yep. That was the main villain of A Close Shave.
Oh.
So it was that, I think her name is Wendeline Ramsbottom. Had a father who was an inventor. He invented Preston, who at first just looks like a normal dog, but then it's later revealed that he is a robot.
Oh.
And, yeah, so he was on an evil rampage. He was trying to abduct sheep and then turn them into dog food.
Ugh.
Then, well, at the end of it all is that, he ended up getting crushed by one of Wallace's machines, and Wallace rebuilt him for Wendeline, and that's basically what he ended up being. So.
Oh, yeah, now that I have some context, I can see why he has some bandages on his head.
Uh-huh. It's also, it's just to say that he was a really good-looking robot before Wallace got his hands on him.
Yeah. Well, at least it's not evil now, yeah?
Mm-hmm.
I think I'd probably call that a win.
Yep. I mean, at this point, you just want tame.
Yeah, and non-murderous, like wanting to make a sheep into dog food.
Mm. I mean, I gotta assume that a lot of dog food is made from sheep.
Well, actually, those come from, like, certain baby chickens that, like, poultry factories can't really, like, get too much profit off like males, so they just chuck them in grinders to make it to dog food.
Mm-hmm. And all of that presaged the movie Chicken Run, which is also pretty much the same thing.
Yeah.
Is that everybody in the Chicken Run films, also a Nick Park film, by the way, everybody resents the idea that people eat chicken in those movies.
Yeah, basically.
Uh-huh.
Basically, the main, like, the villainess is, like, pretty much wanted to cook all the chickens into pies and have, like, a chicken pie empire.
Mm-hmm.
Let me see right here. There we go. It looks like Preston's all cleaned up, at least.
Mm-hmm. Yep. He's just like he used to be.
Well, after since, like, he's not evil anymore.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, this doghouse looks really nice.
Mm-hmm. Well, like I said, we're above par when it comes to making the stop-motion miniatures.
Yeah, and also it looks like he's got like he has books about gardening, kennels, sticks, of course, sheep, the sequel, and poodles.
Yep. The inside of Gromit's kettle was just part of a very lengthy gag in The Wrong Trousers. Is he was trying to sleep in his bedroom, but then Feathers is playing a lot of loud organ music. So he goes from his bedroom to his kennel, and then he puts on the pair of earmuffs that's also in there.
Yeah, I was gonna mention, like, the earmuffs.
Uh-huh. And then later on, he just packs all of his things, and then he leaves from his kennel, so it's obviously he'd been staying there for a while.
Yeah. Yeah, it looks like the entire interior of his little kennel here, his little kennel doghouse thing here is all good.
Uh-huh. Well, yes, I did most of it.
Also, if you look at a dog's place, like, and they have a book about poodles, would that technically kind of something like a Playboy?
I mean,
Like,
okay, some of those magazines are literally named Pet Fancy, so
ooh.
yeah, read that.
So yeah.
You are addressing a very anthropomorphic animal yourself. You know that.
Yeah, I know that. It's just like, it's just calling an observation.
Okay.
And pretty much like an adult joke, like that's kind of hit, nudge, kind of referring to.
Carry on, nudge, nudge, wink, wink, say no more.
Like, mihoy minoi.
Mihoy minoi. If you don't
Yeah,
like
mihoy minoi. I just don't have the heart to say it. It's like I feel like I will significantly lose more respect for myself if I say something like that on stream.
Oh, come on. This is my stream. I lost respect for myself a very long time ago.
Well, if you put it like that... Like, I was just referencing, like, if an anthropomorphic dog would have, like, a book on poodles, it'd be a reference to, like, erotica.
Yeah.
Or, like...
Well, is he not...
like, sort of like using a medical textbook, just kind of, like, look at, like, anatomy in that kind of way.
I mean, is he not puppy man? Does he not puppy bleed?
What? Although I at least appreciate that he's keeping things like that in his own kennel here, and not like, in the house.
I mean, I'm not completely made of wax myself, but I'm always flirting with the goblins on Blue Sky, and also quite frequently some of the human women, or just the human women that have dog ears.
Like, come on, man. Yeah, like, at least Gromit has, like, some kind of respect. It's like, he's not Brian Griffin.
Well, I mean, he was. I would say he was Brian Griffin before Brian Griffin was Brian Griffin.
Yeah, I know, just not the douchebaggy kind.
Hey, whose late do I gotta hunt to get a bowl of cornflakes around here?
Hey, barkeep, whose leg do you have to hunt to get another dry martini around here?
Alright.
By the way, you ever, like, wonder why dogs do that? Oh, hold on, hold that thought, Malor. I must say, the grand idea of was giving Wash Lad a pair of pins. What? With a spring in the step, we'll make quick work of your filthy kennel roof.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I think he's talking about, like, you know, the fact that we're able to jump.
Uh-huh.
Alright, almost got this part of the garden grass all cleaned.
You see anything resembling a ladder? Because all this dirt here goes way up.
You could just equip, like, the more long-range nozzle.
I guess so.
Aha! Got the grass here.
Mm-hmm. Grass tastes bad.
Oh, please, I know what cats like you do to nip. You go... I know what you really think about it.
Okay, once again, you know, the contents of my humidor. You know, when I actually used to tabletop roleplay, Brady, he quite literally used to roll his own. And it was made out of catnip.
Ooh.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, exactly. That's why I thought Mr. Cats are white.
I've had to quit. It was stunting my growth.
Yeah, I can see. Alright, it's like we got, like, currently the right half of the garden all cleaned up. Now we have to do the other side.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, and here's some of the nose. Okay, I'll admit these look really cute. Like, unlike some actual garden gnomes that I've have seen in the past.
You mean the ones that are intentionally modded to look like they crawled out of the Leprechaun film?
Exactly.
Uh-huh.
Like, this one is just, like, a kind of simple, you know, like 2 dots, a nose, a long beard. You know, it's nice. It's cute.
Maybe I'd like to try to make a garden bed. I finally have a big enough yard in Colorado to actually merit that.
Yeah.
And get a lawn gnome because, you know, I'm not Anglophile enough.
Of course not. It's like you said, you lost respect for yourself a long time ago.
Uh-huh. Well, and yeah, the steampunk argument also follows out pretty significantly in that.
Yeah. Alright, got the this little gnome here.
This is great.
And,
this little pressure shooter right here, it goes across like butter.
I know, right?
Why would anybody go back to Nozel Basic?
Look at this gnome here.
Mm-hmm.
Whole thing thinks he's Cardi.
Uh-huh. So, you know, there's a set of Telltale games based on Wallace and Gromit. I have the whole set of them.
Uh-huh.
You know, 4 installments instead of the usual 5, because so I think that perhaps they were running out of the license very quickly.
Yeah, probably.
And so, well, after at the end of it, Telltale kind of had a way of making games by template. Is that they just did very specific things in every game, and it was a bit detrimental to Wallace and Gromit because they did not have the silent interplay between characters. They actually just put like 6 or 7 characters that were Wallace and Gromit's neighbors, and they were in every single installment, and they're never to be seen or heard from again.
Bam.
See, one of
Maybe
them.
the Killer Baker got them.
So there is a cop, and he's in Curse of the Were-Rabbit, and he's also in Murder Most Foul, but he's not the same cop in the Telltale game. That's how disjointed that felt.
Oh, damn. Upon fake water, of course.
Well, if it was real water, you wouldn't be able to drive your motorbike through it.
What?
That was in a close shave.
What?
Is in a close shave is that they leave their garage riding a motorbike in order to do their window washing job. And in order to do so, they have to drive right in the middle of the pond, which is fake, so it flips upside down. And then on the other side of it, there is a gnome holding a stop and go sign.
Oh.
They've used it as a gag in a few other places. Every once in a while they'll just cut to the center of the pond, and there's a different lawn gnome there.
Oh.
It was also used in the Telltale games. Is that you had to find a cricket bat and put it into the gnome's arm in order to solve a puzzle.
Oh. Huh. Can't wait to have like a bird bath, which looks like a more small and naked version of yourself holding up the bowl thingy.
Yeah.
Well, unless it's like, a cat, because, you're a cat.
Say, cats may not be blameless. As a matter of fact, there's a very high likelihood if there is something broken in your kitchen, it is because of your cat.
Yeah. A wise man once said, if you're dying of a heart attack, the last thing you'll hear is your cat knocking over the flower vase.
Oh, look, I'm sorry. I thought you were already dead. I was trying to eat you.
Yeah. Yeah, my bad. I'm just gonna, fuck around with the rest of your furniture until you actually do keel over.
Symbiotic relationships.
Yeah.
I mean, humans kept cats because they used to chase mice under the barn.
Yeah, you see, it's something that actually benefited for a community to have both the dogs and cats because dogs would deal with the big animals and cats would deal with the small animals. All right, there we go.
Well, is that the way that I understand it, that in England they actually tend to use dogs for chasing mice a lot as well.
Yeah, pretty much speaking from one who actually owns this kind of dog herself. There are also dogs that are that specially bred to hunt rats.
Yeah.
Well, rat terriers.
Yeah, rat terriers.
Oh, more lore. And what to find set the nozzles too, Gromit.
Is that I heard of a terrier, I think his name was Old Red, and he was this exceedingly old dog who only had one eye at one point. Won the rat chasing nationals, because apparently this is also a thing that British people do.
Oh.
And you know where
anyway, lore, or a bit like cricketers, eh? Even Gromit's confused at that. Also, what is this? This looks like some kind of bootleg warfare machine.
Let me see. What one is that? Okay, that's the Sock-O-Matic. It's another one from Cracking Contraptions. Essentially, Wallace was using it in order to get the better of Gromit, who was totally acing him in football.
Oh. I guess as I still failed either way.
Mm-hmm. So offhand, I would say, in addition to that being a short, it was probably something that was like shown in a soccer club or something.
Yeah.
So it literally works that, you load balls into the barrels and then the feet spin around and kick the balls as they fall out.
Huh. So it's like a really wacky version, like, baseball pitching machines, right?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So, these shorts are only like about 1 or 2 minutes long, so I don't want to give away a lot about it because maybe you still want to see them.
Why would you? It's not like I'm going to watch them either way.
Oh, well, okay, never mind then. Say, watch a cartoon, Mimi. Feel all better.
That thing will make me feel better anymore. Unless it's humanity's extinction. Huh? Shopper 13. Oh, it's that thing.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So that one was a particular funny one. Is that they actually did stay pretty true to form in that. Is that they are trying to take the shopping cart robot on its first trip to the grocery store, and they basically treat the entire thing like it's a launch from a space for space. And so it's just this big, ridiculous thing. They're going around the corner to the market. They're bringing home a cheese wheel. But it's entirely about the Edam has landed and things like that.
Well, I mean, I can't understand why, like, something that's so purpose is to be like, grocery shopper machine, like going to a grocery shop for the first time.
Mm-hmm. And so the gag at the end of that actually did have a Shaun the Sheep cameo. Is that Wallace says, launch the probe, sends out Shaun on a skateboard. And of course, Shaun just, there you go, So yeah, a little bit of a hiccup there. Let's hope it wasn't permanent.
Oh, hey, it looks like there is the ladder.
Uh-huh, okay, yeah.
I suck at magic.
Yeah, probably the only other time that you see Shaun and Wallace and Gromit together.
Oh, yeah. Let's see here. Oh, well, let's see here. Like, I was kind of asking, like, what this is, because these storage tubes, like, kind of looks like, a gun revolver.
Yeah, that was, for all intents and purposes. It was a barrel loader for footballs.
Yeah, footballs instead of bullets. See here. Still cleaning up this thing. Ah, got the Sock-O-Matic body cleaned.
Mm-hmm. So QB is spread pretty far and wide across the entirety of this yard. I'm mostly just doing the corner fence here.
Yeah.
That's me in the corner. That's me in the spotlight, losing my cheese.
Oh, fucking cheese! Not the cheese! Oh.
Oh no, I've said too much, lad.
Also, yeah, it kind of does make sense because as far as typically wander.
Uh-huh. Well, I'm exactly like him if I had happened upon the deli section of my local supermarket.
Yeah, it does. It's free food.
I want to love all of you, but unfortunately, I can only afford to pick one a month.
Ah, yes.
Uh-huh. So, is it going to be blue cheese? Is it going to be Wensleydale? Is it, I tend to like a little bit of snack-sized Edam or garlic seasoned cream cheese.
My decisions. The strongest choices require the strongest wills.
Well, it's also the best cheese is the one that you have.
Exactly.
There's a rind in a fisted glove.
A what?
A rind of cheese. A cheese rind.
Oh.
Uh-huh. So we're gonna have to do one of these watch parties, but it's actually a listen party. I'm gonna get you to all of these songs that I know from the 60s and the 70s. I refuse,
No.
yeah.
Yeah, no, I refuse. I make a JoJo reference.
Greatest hits of, on a 6-volume set. Used to buy it on 8 cassettes or 4 8-track tapes. But now you can just download it all off of YouTube Premium.
You actually download stuff?
Well, yeah.
There's the times, Zabur!
Okay, I'm going to tell you this, is that I got YouTube Premium for the express purpose.
Hold it!
Okay.
Hey, we got lore. And if you got a sticky wicket, on comes ready for some googly pass.
I did not get any of that. Random persona googly pass.
How's that?
I mean, maybe that's the name of Wallace's persona. I am thou, and thou art I, lad.
Sound detected. Snoring. Zzz. Oh. Anyway, I was saying, come on, give it the times. You don't have any, websites there are for that kind of thing? For just listening to music?
Okay, I bought Premium for the express purpose of not wanting to use the third-party pop-up blockers ever again, because they don't really work. And
See, if you weren't a breathing pensioner at this point, and you would know that the only reason once you get a YouTube Premium is to get around all the ads, and not to mention there's YouTube Music.
Well, that's precisely the reason I do that, and there's another reason that I do that, because it's because we run YouTube on this stream.
Liar.
Hey, don't believe me.
I know you basically senile.
I see Nile, I eat it.
What does that even mean?
that I shall consume a river in North Africa.
It's called the Nile. Not Nile.
Uh-huh. Well, that's bad, because then I'm consuming Fraser Crane's younger brother.
Yeah, that doesn't make... Yeah, get a clever clapback that just makes you sound homo.
Uh-huh. Hey, baby, I hear the blues are calling. Toss salads and matriarchal cannibalism.
Right, there we go.
See,
Oh, little doggy door here.
these things would make old sitcoms so much better if just out of nowhere somebody just eats somebody alive.
Old sitcoms don't exist anymore.
Well, of course, you know, they don't make the old sitcoms anymore, they only make new ones. Well, okay, and they also make new old ones. That's for anybody who's watching the Conners.
Anybody who watches whatever that is?
Mm-hmm.
Let's see here.
Boy, the way Glenn Miller played songs that made the hit parade. Guys like us, we had it made.
Rainy.
Those
Rainy.
were the days.
Rainy!
Yes.
Can you do us all a favor and stop singing? You're probably gonna get us copyright claimed.
Nobody is going to mistake me for the dulcet tones of...
It's not about mistaken. Even if you so much as sing the lyrics, you better believe you're gonna get hit with a lawsuit.
Uh-huh.
And plus, I'll be honest, your singing's just painful, man.
Uh-huh. As I'm a cat. Once again, it's to be expected.
By the way, did you know that, like, stained glass is actually, like, cheaper when you have, like, more simpler, or, like, cuts and stuff like, you know, bigger pieces?
Well, yeah.
So pretty much, the window on, like, Princess Peach's castle would actually be cheaper than you think.
So you think about the days in the Renaissance when a patron would hire Michelangelo to delicately paint the entirety of the Old Testament onto the ceiling of a roof. And then you come to realize that guy paid a lot of money for a lot of naked people commissions.
Well, there actually is a good reason for that. Like, you see, they were taking artists, like, back in the day were, like, taking a lot of inspiration from, like, you know, Greek and Roman in the sculptures and art around that time, which, like, you know, portrayed a lot of nudity.
Yeah.
And pretty much then, it's like the church told them, hey, you can't do that, that's obscene. That pretty much made them more bitter, and so Michelangelo pretty much took the opportunity to, like, you know, paint a bunch of naked people on the Sistine Chapel ceiling.
You know, a lot of British culture and art just is derived directly from envy of the Greeks.
Yeah, exactly. Like, Roman gods are literally just copy-pasted Greek gods.
So for one of my well, I mean, those are Romans. That's a little bit further back than it all, but in one of my creative writing courses, I happen to be able to read a lovely little epic poem called "The Fairy Queen" by Edmund Spenser, and it is quite literally reads as 7 or 8 chapter long fan fiction.
I think I might I might have a bit of like a sense of like what this is like. Is it like the kind of one where like this beautiful woman is has a spell put on her that makes her fall in love with someone with a donkey head?
There is it is there. But the thing is that they plagiarize an awful lot of English oral tradition in order to cobble this together. The entirety of the story of Saint George and the Dragon is in this. It is in this story. At one point, he actually starts meeting and hanging around with King Arthur.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is, literally, this was the author shoving the manuscript in the face of the queen and saying, see, this is pretty cool, isn't it? Huh? We can have epic poems too, can't we?
Bruh.
Uh-huh.
Oh, I fell off this ladder. I mean, not like it would actually hurt me in any kind of way, But still, just a little bit of an adrenaline rush for a second.
Say, Wallace of 62 West Wallaby Street, why have you programmed me to feel pain?
He probably do that thing where he kind of like rolls his eyes.
Uh-huh. What god have I wronged in order to have wrought this existence?
What is this, Ultra Kill? Like, what is this, Ultra Kill, like, Wallace and Gromit edition?
Yeah, why not? You
Be
know,
a piece of cheese.
well, let me see. How did that go?
Something about, like, killer robots,
No.
pretty much to the point where, like, humanity is entirely extinct, but since they're, like, a blood, like, for them, like, a blood is literally a fuel, they regularly take trips into hell to, like, mass slaughter demons.
No, okay, you're gonna like this. This is Mr. Peabody grade.
What?
Do androids dream of electric Shaun the Sheep?
Wow.
Now you can see why I'm not a philosopher.
Yeah, probably good reason, too. Yeah, probably good reason to keep you from being a philosopher. Anything like that. Yeah, but then again, I actually bring about questions that actually matter. Even though they're not questions that anyone asks or even wants to hear the answers to.
Yeah.
I do bring about those questions.
This is what
Like, honestly, wouldn't it be cooler for, like, a divine possession instead to be more based on actual parasites?
I have this, I have this inclination as well. You know what I do? I
What?
blame the autism.
Yeah, I kind of blame it on, like, the autism and the irreparable damage that has happened to my brain. Let's see.
All right.
Let's see, really. I got that. Oop. Uh-huh. There we go, little number. A porch pot. There we go.
Gromit, pass the pot. It's good that we have it. Back in my day, we didn't even have a pot to pass in.
That was a sweet joke.
It is a little urine, yes. You know, there is kind of a tendency to start thinking about your lower bowel necessities when you're playing a game like this.
Yeah, typically. Okay, you have to get back on the Stock-O-Matic for this.
How's that? I cleaned out as much of that front window as I possibly could have while standing on the Stock-O-Matic.
Yeah, and I'm just, like, getting everything you missed. There we go.
Yeah, well, nobody ever said I was neat.
Well, hey, I'd say you're a very neat person.
Well, that's nice. I hope that I'm taking it in the alternate context that it was intended.
Yes.
Alright.
Yeah, just because I kind of say, like, a derogatory among yourself to you doesn't mean that, you know, you're not my friend.
No. I can take it all. I can take it all well and good.
Yeah. Got that?
Forgettable. You know. And also, you know, I can certainly admit to the fact that, you know, 98% of the show is me doing okay Boomer. Say, okay Boomer, we get it. You really like these cartoons. They're not
Yeah,
cartoons.
like, okay, Boomer, we understand that you really like to sing even when you probably should.
Say, these are not cartoons. That's like, fuck this like frickin' Shakespeare. So I can certainly say that I have a lot of, what's the best way to put it? A lot of revitalized creativity as a result of my going tune and doing a lot for this rebrand.
Yeah, pretty much. It's like your redesign.
So, you know, there's so much when I'm doing the fantasy stuff, sometimes I feel like I run out of ideas, but, you know, I never
And then
run
I just waltz right in.
Well, I never run out of ideas when it comes to Bugs Bunny. That's what I was going to say.
Yeah. But then again, I also provide, like, a whole bunch of ideas for, like, practically everything we do, right, Benny?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. And that was a thing that kind of struck me when I was thinking about it, is that we have to be probably the single most cartoony attempt at a Let's Play. But then again, I want to stop short of that because there's probably something out there like the Tunes engine, you know, somebody playing a game in that old chestnut, and they're using it for their actual play, something like that.
Yeah, whatever will be going on there.
So it's
somewhere around the world.
You know, at any other point, you know, people would be relying on things like dwarves and elves and just the most standard races. But you know, they exist, but they're not the main characters.
Yeah, at least not anymore.
The main characters are a cat, a robot, a mermaid, a giant walking spider.
Yeah, pretty much which I've basically made is like, you know, revamped a version of Changelings.
And their arch enemies are a turtle, another cat, a giant squid.
And an incredibly pissed off German sounding ice dragon.
Yep. Whee! Okay. Unfortunately, I did not make the jump.
Alright, looks like we're about 98% done.
Alright, let's take a look here. The control lever of the Stock-O-Matic, the foot plate of the Stock-O-Matic, the front steps, the steps of the front door, the small garage door frame, the garage lintel, the kennel teeth cleaning supplies. I actually have to wipe off Gromit's toothbrush. Oh
my god, yeah, that's right.
This is the burden of everyone who has ever owned a dog.
I can't fucking stay in.
You have to
okay, there we go.
Brush the dog's teeth, and then you have to B, clean the toothbrush.
Well, not to mention you also have to make sure, like, you know, with actual dogs, you have to make sure they don't just eat the toothpaste.
You also kind of have to factor in that why does Gromit even own a toothbrush? He clearly doesn't have any teeth or a mouth.
Wait, doesn't he?
The only time that we've ever seen him eat is when they smash cut to a scene in the wrong trousers and he's eating a mouthful of cornflakes. And so they do it in a way that, okay, he chews the cornflakes and so they make his cheeks puff out, but you still don't see his mouth. Then he goes for another spoonful when he's interrupted. So we still don't know how that thing eats.
Maybe something like the wallabies. These are like they pretty much do osmosis, like to eat. Like they just like it just absorbs in food.
I mean, that's more of a Gumby thing, but
I mean,
I'm Gumba, damn it.
well, it says like a lot of things in Kirby just like don't have teeth.
Mm-hmm.
Come on.
Okay, well, we're still at 98. When we were at 99, there was still like 6 or 7 things to clean.
Yeah.
So, the camera in the kennel. So let me see if I can list off things that are in the kennel. The light cable, the roof, the sign, the walls, and yeah, that's everything on the kennel. Then I'm going to do the porch because there's a lot there too.
Hold on. Hold on, like something for the oh wait, hold on. Yeah, garage so long. Oh yeah, it looks like the the filth detector can't really is not really working at this rate. So it looks like we're in the end game now.
Yeah, just about. Okay, that takes care of the cell. So yeah, there's still all of this stuff in and on the kennel. And of course I did the walls as best I could, but maybe I didn't get the corners.
Let's see here. There is that.
Okay, they did say the light bulb. And they also said the light bulb cord.
Yes, that would be right.
You frequently see Gromit reading a book entitled Electronics for Dogs. And that it is to say that he probably put this light in himself.
Oh, yeah.
Uh-huh.
But I give it to him, pretty inventive.
Mm-hmm.
Like even without Wallace.
Mm-hmm. They also tend to do like a lot of... He also reads a lot of classical literature, but it all has dog puns in it. He's read The Republic by Plato, Les Miserables by Fido Dostoevsky. Uh-huh.
Looks like we're also gonna have to get his roof.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, damn.
Okay, yeah, I can see just the rail in the center. That's filthy.
Yeah, like just the thing on the center, which you're standing on.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, also around here, around the back.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, and also underneath it. Alright, there we go. Now let's see here. We're also gonna need like to finish off like the pond and driveway.
Mm-hmm.
Pond driveway? But like, wait a minute.
No, I think they're talking about the path that leads up to the pond, which is this whole thing right here.
But this is labeled like the garden driveway, not the pond driveway.
Well, are you sure that's not the garden driveway? Because it has all the flowers on it.
Hold on. No, it's just like it says that there are two garden driveways.
It's such a funny thing, you know.
Wait a minute, I think we have to like find something to activate the thing that flips this. Oh wait! I got it!
Alright.
This is the one!
Wait, where'd you go? Oh, there you are.
Right here.
Yeah, okay. So, yeah. So that is precisely the gnome that is in a close shave.
Of course.
Uh-huh.
Wee.
You know, it's kind of ironic because we actually ended up cleaning up everything except for the working mechanism that is actually part of the series.
Yeah.
Okay, that puts us at
Oh,
99.
we also have to clean off this dome, like.
Hmm. I already saw that the ghost sign was clean.
Alright.
Man.
Alright, let's see. Okay, yeah, we just finished up that.
Okay.
Right, now we're gonna have to, like, completely... Alright, now we gotta deal with Preston's tail.
Uh-huh.
Let me see around here. Oh, on the top.
Yeah, the antenna.
Yeah, there we go. Now then, the Shopper 13 clipboard.
All right.
Alright, hold on.
Okay,
Yeah, we're gonna have to, like,
Yeah.
finish up with the, like, Chapter 13, like, you know,
Yeah.
the real small details.
the engine, the frame, the gloves, of which there are two. The footplate.
Yes, there too. There we go. How much underneath okay. Alright, let's see here. Alright, now we'll need like about what looks like the last of the Socomatic footprint. You know, Socomatic boot, you know, lore thingy.
I'm his packed bags last night pre-flight.
Let's see here. A footplate. Oh wait, it's this thing.
Yeah, the things that are actually feet and have plates on them. Oh no,
No,
actually,
I was talking about like this thing, you know, like
Yeah.
that's pretty much on the operator seat.
Okay, yeah. Maybe they did that on purpose to throw you off.
Maybe. Alright.
It's kind of
And
hard.
last but not least, we'll have to do like the last two of the Socomatic, hold on. Socomatic, wheels. Yeah, the wheels.
Alright.
Alright. Hold on. Alright, now we're gonna have to finish up the front door frame sills. Primarily this one. Let me see here. Oh, there it is. Let's see here. Clean. Now we're gonna have to do the garage wall. The other, like, garage wall or something or other.
Yep.
Also over there. Do-do-do. Oh. There we go. Now we have what looks like 3 things left: house frame, bay window frames, the porch windows, and the garden planter frames.
Okay. Bay windows, wouldn't that be nice?
Yeah.
Proof of house have. You can't afford this place on a cheese-eating inventor's salary.
Got that. Now we're gonna need the porch windows. Porch window. Oh. Now garden planter frames.
Oh, well. Along here?
No, those are like garden pathway runners.
Okay. Garden planter frames. Oh, you know, I'm just... I'm just wiping the dirt at this point because maybe there are dirt spots on the dirt.
No, it's not the grass. Trust me, I checked.
Mm-hmm.
And the planter frames.
You know,
Looks like it maybe has to do with the porch pots.
I think it also it's also very likely that they're the ones on the second floor.
Second floor?
Mm-hmm. So I'm trying to put down the ladder. I literally never do this.
Why are you putting it down? There you go.
Mm-hmm.
Garden planter frames.
Oh, do you think?
Oh wait, the planter frames are these little loopy things down here.
Yeah. There was a part of me that was about to say the ones with the pink flowers in them.
Yeah, no, those are the pots. And there we go.
There we go. Okay. We have removed the dirt from the potted plant. I don't know how happy I should feel about that.
I do not know.
Uh-huh.
Oh, we pretty much got the entire yard to the entire house, outside of the house. And yeah, we got it.
All right, so let me see. We have like another 90 minutes, so we can definitely take another job.
All right, so this one would be the Knitomatic.
All right.
All right, let's see here. Our poor Knitomatics in a rectangle. There's not a moment to lose, Gromit. Before I wash land to the basement, and let's get everyone thing woolly and clean. All right. Well, you see this place, right?
Oh, yeah. So this is just the basement workshop, but, you know, they are specifically using the version of it from a close shave.
Hold on. Lore.
Yes,
Let
Lore.
me wash lads clean out of the blocks again. And I'd best have a word with the chef. Command, please spruce up the basement to give a Knitomatic a makeover. Yeah, looks like the embodiment of gay itself caused a mess and ran.
Well, I mean, like you do.
I mean, yeah.
Okay.
You know, like it's when Pride Month is over. You know, then it's Wrath Month's turn. Then Lust Month, and Gluttony Month, and Envy Month, and so on and so forth.
So I think, you know, we're pretty steeped in celebrating gay wrath at this point.
Exactly. And also gay sloth.
Gay lust is mostly just implied.
Yeah, just implied. Gay envy.
Oh, where did you get those shoes?
Oh my god, that's your boyfriend, man? Of course, there's a gay sloth. Look, I would really want to go to, like, the gay pub tonight, but I don't really feel like it.
Let's just go ahead and let's throw a blanket over each other and eat out of an entire gallon of Rocky Road.
Yeah, pretty much this also counts as, like, gay gluttony, too.
Oh, gay gluttony can be quite a different thing.
Unless I got most of the stairs.
Things too fierce to mention. Of course, the thing just knit. It didn't actually have anything to do with dying.
Yeah, I'm like, so what in the world did all this?
Look, we know who it's gonna be. I know who it's gonna be. You know who it's gonna be. Everybody's gonna know who it's gonna be. It is the single character who is responsible for all of the villainy in the entirety of the series.
Who is it?
It's Feathers. It's gonna be Feathers.
Who's Feathers?
The penguin.
Oh god. Here.
So, you know, I can tell you there is no other surviving villain. So, Preston is that wheel cart that we saw in the yard now. I don't mind telling you that the lady from A Matter of Life and Death also eventually died.
Is she the villain?
Yeah.
Oh.
I mean, the villain was that hunter played by Ray Fiennes in The Curse of the Were-Rabbit. So I think he went to jail. But then again, so did Feathers. Feathers is smart enough to operate outside of jail. That's what the difference is.
So, like, was the lady, like, the bakery serial killer?
Yeah. So the clock that we saw in the living room, she used to be a pitch woman for a shortening brand called Bakelite. And she basically was killing people out of a jealous rage because she ate a bunch of bread from a bunch of bakers and she gained a lot of weight.
What?
She eventually went insane. She tried to fly the balloon again, but of course she was too heavy, and she landed in an alligator pit.
Oh, God.
Uh-huh. That's what happened to her.
So that's why she's on, like, a baker murder spree?
Yep.
I've heard of bad logic, but this is ridiculous.
Well, that's the design of the series once again.
Yeah, no, I was kind of making a pun.
It's supposed to be every lethal thing, but then also as silly as you can possibly write it.
Yeah. Huh. Bully-proof vest.
Mm-hmm.
Interesting.
That was also one of the ones from the shorts. See, that was a particularly mean one because Wallace was having Gromit pose as the burglar in order to try it out.
Oh my God.
Uh-huh. As I tell you, he's a real jerk to that dog sometimes.
Yeah.
So it's a treat that he was momentarily nice to Gromit at the end of the latest movie.
Huh. The auto dry suction tube. Oh, cool.
So it wasn't too long ago that I actually did end up loading this onto my Steam Deck, but I still haven't played solo mode. This is always so much better, just being able to co-op with you.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree. Like, I am playing on, like, kind of solo, playing, like, the, Alice DLC, like, I got for myself, you know, Alice in Wonderland, but still, like, this is still, like, really fun.
Yeah, mm-hmm.
No, it's kind of ironic that we're cleaning something that's, whole thing is, like, auto wash.
What, this? No, this wasn't a cleaner. All it did was knit. And that was a joke. Is that something this huge?
And
Is
all
only
it
for
did
knitting.
was
Yeah.
knit.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So the output on it was like quite literally a printer that ran a set of knitting needles until you had a sweater. And so many of Wallace's inventions are, well, he just could have done that. He could have done something a lot simpler, but he just likes to do it the hard way.
Honestly, can't blame him.
Uh-huh. So, I am washing off the drawing
Sometimes
board.
it's just fun to do a whole bunch of wacky things like this.
Yep. So, okay, that has the plans for the Nidomatic. I was half expecting the plans for the rocket ship.
There might be another level in this.
I believe, yeah, it is. It's the final level, too. There's a second moose head. It just
Another one?
kind of intentionally put multiple moose heads into this.
Yeah, it's a little bit weird. Let's see over here.
And of course, then you have to have it so that there's just a lot of dirt directly behind the moose antlers. There's the
Hey,
back
check
of
it
the
out!
moose.
It's like one sled that's pretty much been famous for like forever. Rosebud.
Yeah, Rosebud. Yes, Rosebud brand peas. Full of garden goodness and green penis.
Never really understood why like this sled called Rosebud was like so popular.
Okay, it's a reference to a 1943 movie called Citizen Kane. So, in the movie, this man whose name is Kane is running for president. And effectively, what he does is that he gets involved in so many backroom deals that eventually he just kind of gets run out on a rail, and then he's forced to live in his house in complete seclusion. And so, a reporter is trying to figure out why his last words were Rosebud after he dies. And so what he's able to figure out is that it's just Rosebud was the name of his sled. And so it literally meant it's the last item of childhood joy that he latched onto.
Man, that's sad.
Yeah. That is a Orson Welles movie. Is that it was a movie directed by Orson Welles.
Yeah.
Is that Orson Welles was just this really big, prominent Hollywood figure in the 40s, but unfortunately, in the 50s and 60s, he didn't get any royalties from the movies he made, so he was kind of forced to do a bunch of cheap things like TV commercials. And so he started gaining a reputation for being a person who is really difficult to work with, because he was quite literally...
Hold on. Hey, hold on. It's lore.
Okay.
Top work, go wash slide. That dirt is dust looking ground out there. The Gromit.
Say.
Oh, yeah, and Gromit's happy.
Well, if you can see the positive thing about dirt, then you're a better man than I.
Yeah. I mean, at least a lot of it looks really pretty, like it's rainbow.
So, anyways, as I was saying, is that Orson Welles, just became this person who is just notorious for being difficult to work with, and it is for good reason. He was literally the best director in Hollywood at one point. They had him do, like, commercials, like, this is a pretty infamous one, is, I can see a couple of Gromit's books.
Wait, more of his books?
Yeah, they were just in the corner on the top of these. Okay, one's a Techno Trousers manual. The other is Wuthering Rights, which is the parody of Wuthering Rights. And then it has a couple of penguins on the cover.
Oh god, if that's an allude to Mr. Feathers being the antagonist.
Well, I don't know. We never saw him read a book.
Wait, who, Mr. Feathers?
We've seen him pilot a sub. We've seen him hack a database, thanks to the new movie. But yeah, I don't think we've ever seen him Actually, I need to correct myself. He also read Electronics for Dogs, and he used it to re-rig the Techno Trousers.
Oh.
So.
Well,
So what was my point about him? Is that okay? So Orson Welles exists in parody. You probably well know him best as the guy who inspired the voice of the Brain in Pinky and the Brain.
really?
Yeah. So Maurice LaMarche, just kind of took this audio recording of Wells, just yelling at a director for a television commercial, and he basically turned it into what his usual timbre is for playing the Brain.
Oh.
Okay, and they parodied it in a single episode of Animaniacs where he is basically redoing some of his lines in a sound studio, and it is word for word exactly what Orson Welles said on that recording.
Oh my god.
I'll have to find both the recording and the cartoon for you, and then you can see what the similarities are.
Yeah, so?
Mm-hmm. So there's story after story of all these really, really important people in old Hollywood that unfortunately just ended up passing away poor because they couldn't secure the royalties to their own films. Margaret Hamilton, the Wicked Witch of the West, was one of them. So was Buster Keaton, the silent film actor.
I don't really know who any of those people are.
Well, I told you, Margaret Hamilton played the Wicked Witch of the West in The Wizard of Oz. The famous one that starred Judy Garland.
And asbestos, right?
Huh?
And asbestos, the incredibly
Yeah,
toxic material used for snow?
Yeah, mm-hmm. Well, I actually have an asbestos gag in this new format. Is that any time that I take away the front half of the every time I take off the feed from the from the video room, the other end of the frame has a curtain that says asbestos on it.
Oh.
So that was something that actually popped up quite a bit in like 1940s cartoons where they were playing stage shows. The implication that they were using this kind of cheap workman's type of curtain as their theater curtain.
Uh-huh.
They didn't know it was completely poisonous.
Yes, incredibly poisonous. So poisonous, in fact, that would probably give you, an incredibly debilitating disease.
Mm-hmm.
Is there here? Pretty.
Excuse me. All right.
Let's see right here. We also got a liar down on here too.
Mm-hmm. Okay. I'm going to, let's see.
You know what?
Well, I thought I was standing right next to you, and then I was just going to clean under the ladder to see if just the two little ladder spokes stayed, but I wasn't actually next to you. I was just up against this railing over here.
Yeah. Oh, hey, there's also a picture for the rocket ship.
Mm-hmm. Oh, okay.
It's that this more crude and look and stuff, more like a little doodle than a design. You know, actual like blueprints or something. But so,
that's how it looked like in A Grand Day Out. It was literally just Wallace drawing a picture of a rocket ship. And then scribbling the rocket boosters underneath it.
oh, a Snoozatron sheep counter.
A Snoozatron sheep counter, yes.
Yeah.
Okay, this is the one that is too obscure for me. I don't know where it came from.
Probably the, you know, the whole gag of like counting sheep to fall asleep.
Yeah. They love that gag in British comedy.
Yeah.
I like the one where, so Mr. Bean, this is Mr. Bean, is that he tries to count sheep to get to sleep, so he pulls out a photograph of several sheep in a field, and he literally goes, and then he feels like he loses count, and then he pulls out a calculator, and he punches a few buttons in it, and then he looks at the calendar, he sighs, and then he immediately falls asleep.
Okay, that's a good one.
Uh-huh. So yeah, we're getting lore deep here. Is that okay? There is an alarm bell down here. I don't know. I can't remember what series that was from either. Let me see. Okay, there's a copy of the Hound of the Baskervilles up in this cabinet.
The what?
The Hound of the Baskervilles. It's a famous Sherlock Holmes story. And then another book that just says Sheep 2. Sheep the sequel.
Yeah, the same one that we saw in like his little kennel.
Uh-huh. Oh, okay, well. You know. They have to reuse an asset somewhere. Mm-hmm. This is indie, you know.
Yeah. Excuse me a second.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. There we go.
So we have one disembodied robot arm.
Yes, course.
Well, you know, with the white glove on the end of it, as always.
Of course. That's staple.
Okay, and you may hate me for this, but after that whole tirade, I actually do remember where the sheep counter is.
Get out.
There's an additional gag where, you know, Gromit is forced to wake up early, sit at the kitchen table with a cup of tea, and then wait to get sprung upwards into Wallace's bedroom while wearing a sheep costume so that Wallace can count sheep.
Wow. So he had pretty much had to be a sheep cannonball for him?
Pretty much. And so he just continues to bounce on this trampoline throughout the night. Because he had the timer set up really high, but he fell asleep after like 3 or 4 bounces.
Yeah, do you ever feel like even when like you've slept, like you've even slept like more than usual? Well, it's like so your eyes are like incredibly like heavy, and they're still like no, we want to go back to sleep.
I
Like
know.
even though you've gotten basically extra sleep.
Mm-hmm. Well, yeah, but you know, I know why. It's because I have sleep apnea.
What?
I have sleep apnea. I have a condition where when I sleep, my mouth doesn't take in enough oxygen, and therefore I feel sleep deprived. It happens quite frequently to people like me who are overweight.
Never mind.
Well, I mean, you know, I'm getting old, and so at this point, yeah, anything that is a medical insight is very, very useful to me.
Looks like I would know. You know me.
Well,
Anyway,
yeah,
lore. We got lore.
yeah.
Let's check a Washland self-supply grow. We can't have them running out of suddenly. Suddenly? Oh, suddenly thing.
Oh, God.
And I've mislaid my favorite spanner. Keep an eye out. That's a good dog.
Yeah, we already went over Spanner.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I found the electronics for dogs books, but they intentionally make it look different. It's designed like a dummies book, and it says extra electronics for dogs.
Oh.
Then there's a book then there's a copy of White Fang, which is a literal novel, and another one that says Famous Bones.
Nice. Got that.
Yep. So now we're getting somewhere. I'm standing on top of the narrow shells up here.
Oh, really?
Uh-huh.
Oh,
So
yeah, I saw
I'm-
you.
I'm about to jump on that bookshelf that I was cleaning on the bottom. Oh, never mind.
Oops.
Let's do it again. And then there's just a completely different and untouched set of shells behind me.
Making some serious progress on this upper wall.
Mm-hmm. So this is where the dirt is in triplicate. It's a lot like the playground in the main game.
Huh?
Like the playground in the main game is that the one that everybody feels is too frustrating to finish.
I don't know what that means. I've never really played the main game. I literally only play the DLCs.
Alright, well. Someday the main game. And, well, you know, there's... Unlike the DLCs, there's a significant amount of areas of the main game that are a lot easier. Your very first job is to wash your own car.
Really? That's it?
Mm-hmm. So, well, I guess we've gotten a little bit of ahead of the curve. You know, we are the...
Yeah, way ahead of the curve.
You know, we are practitioners of Zen and the art of Powerwash Simulator.
Powerwash Jutsu.
We learned through our own self-discipline.
And mainly our like incredibly intense fascination with certain things, like the things we go through, like SpongeBob, Alice in Wonderland, Wallace and Gromit.
Uh-huh. Well, Warhammer, that one's just on me.
Yeah, Warhammer. Oh.
Mud for the Mud God.
Mud for the Mud God. All hail.
I mean, you know, here, this is really just a miniature plasticine world, so I assume that their god is quite literally Nick Park.
Yeah, probably.
He who moves us and occasionally replaces swatches of our mouths with other ones in order to pronounce things phonetically.
Yep, that's their god. Yeah.
You know, stop motion again. Dabbled in it. It was fun at the time. I'm a little more happy with any animation rigging program. And as you know, I'm working on another Live 2D avatar. So
Yeah. Look, got that.
the most frustrating thing is going to be leaving bits of mud on these very tall, high walls and then having to climb back up here.
Yeah.
Oh wow, I just fell 2 stories.
Well,
I'm trying to do this as parkour as I possibly can.
Yeah, basically.
Leave you to use the ladder because maybe you generally have a better idea where to use it than I do.
Yeah, essentially.
Where do you use the ladder? Somewhere where you need
I've
to
been
go
using
high.
it right.
Yep.
Yeah, right over
You,
here.
it's like Cranky Kong's tips. Use the ladder when you want to get high.
Uh,
This stuff is really good for my glaucoma.
Cranky Cog. Yeah, pretty much like Cranky. I think we need to get you put in a home.
But I live in a tree.
A home in a tree.
Say, but I might fall for that. I'm an old man.
You already live in a tree.
Back in my day, is that as soon as I got this old, you would immediately throw me into the small pit that contained bones of all of the other apes.
Well, fine. Let's take it to the hole then, Cranky.
Walnuts, peanuts, pineapple smells, grape smells, oranges, and coconut shells.
And then there's Chucky. He's dead.
Oh.
Chucky. Chucky's dead. Doo doo doo. I never get tired of those kinds of memes.
Yeah. I mean, that was Brentalfloss. Brentalfloss carving a very special name for himself in the annals of rewriting video games songs with lyrics.
Yeah, I'll say. Hey, like, you heard what I said.
Okay, well, I'm starting to find that second layer of dirt. It's blue, so at least it's identifiable.
Yes. Let me see here. Gonna have to switch to the sniper washer. Woohoo! I'm pretty much sniping dirt from up here.
Mm-hmm.
Also, like, it's kind of weird, like, on the upper hand thing, like, it says, like, the basement upper wall is, like, multi-purpose. Like, it's a wall. What else do you expect from it?
Well, it's very distinct because it's a wall underneath the floor. So it is a wall that is also technically a ceiling.
So it's not like you could use it for anything else.
Alright.
Let's see around here.
Hmm. There's this whole narrow section of wall that separates the top from the bottom, and that's what I'm remaining stuck to at this point.
Yeah. Again, you could always, jump.
Well, do this wall, then turn around, and then do the opposite wall. That would be the smart thing to do.
Yeah, but which one is more fun, though?
I say the funnest thing for me will be when it gets done, and that makes for another thing. I don't know if I'm really the proper demographic for this. I want to achieve. I must succeed. All right. Maximum effort.
Okay, now realize that after you say maximum effort, you're legally obligated to jump from whatever you were on.
Oh, crud. Well, if I'm legally obligated.
Yep.
Hang on. Okay. If I do this, you have to do something for me. You know what that is?
And what is that?
You need to sing Shoop.
Shoop.
No. The whole, like, a good verse of it. Salt and pepper it up over here, okay?
Shoop.
Shoop, shoop-a-doop, shoop-a-doop, shoop-a-doop. It was the song that was in the movie.
Well, you always sang it, and you already said maximum effort, so jump.
Alright, jump. Well, it's a good thing that you arrived there now, so now you can clean up that mess.
Yeah, exactly. No, right now this place is still like so dirty that when you pass the one for you to see where all the filth still is, like you get flashbanged by orange.
Yep.
You get Garf banged.
Yep. John, I don't want to go on a diet. I'm gonna say Garfield says I hate Mondays. I say I hate days.
I hate flashbangs. Oh, I got another bit of lore here.
Mm-hmm.
Parsons of Ed. The Gromit found out located behind the left ear. Who would have thought it? Oh. Oh.
He did a stupid, which is par for the course for any
pretty
brilliant
par for the
fictional
course,
character.
Yeah.
As people, kind of low-key knew what autism was before they had a name for it. Of course, this is my favorite example. This is one of the things I built Brady on, is that in the Sword in the Stone 1967 movie, I believe the director was named Wolfram. Well, something Wolfram. He based that version of Merlin on how he used to perceive Walt Disney.
Really?
Yeah. So if you could look back at a lot of the scenes, it's not just the fact that he gets doddering, but it's also the fact that every once in a while he'll just kind of have this very terse conversation with you. he does it to the sugar pot. He says, no, see here, that old China set is broken enough as it is. And that was supposedly a trait of Walt Disney.
Huh. Confusion.
You never seen Disney's A Sword in a Stone?
No.
Okay, well, guess what?
I'm practically falling asleep.
Okay, well, if you are feeling too bad, then we should probably cut it here. I don't, even if we push ourselves, we're not going to finish this in this playthrough.
Yeah, you're right.
All right, so we're going to go ahead and we're going to sign off. Is that I'm sure, we could had another hour, but that's, time well spent with a friend beating up on fictional dirt. So,
Yep.
okay, so thank you everybody once again for tuning in. Don't forget, throughout the month of April, we are raising money for our Autistic Self-Advocacy Network. Spend $20 in our Tiltify and then go through the Tiltify request in order to receive a fish stick ART from me. A transparent GIF of a fish stick decorated according to your request. So, thank you everybody once again for tuning in. We're going to go ahead, we're going to do a raid now. Let's see, who would we like to pay a visit to? Okay.
So who's it gonna be?
Let me scroll in the web browser here. Okay, so Twitch. Okay, so let's see. Well, right now I can already see my very, very good friend and frequent collaborator, Space Pirate K, is on, and he's actually playing Placid Plastic Duck Simulator, which is a little bit out of character for him. So let's go ahead, let's pay him a visit. All right, folks, thank you once again for tuning into the stream. We're going to be back this coming Thursday, and I'm mostly going to be doing an art stream. Specifically, I do want to take some time in order to do some more live 2D rigging. So thank you everybody once again for tuning in. Queen Vampiress only just signed in. Hi, friend. Thank you very much for tuning in, Queen Vampiress. We're about to sign off, but, thank you very much for tuning into the stream. As you can see, this is my new debut. I am in my new character, Reactive. Pretty soon I'm going to have a live 2D that's just like this. All right, so, yeah. Go ahead and say hi to Queen Vampiress. Go ahead and say hi to Space Pirate K for me. The usual raid message is Brainy Raid, roll initiative. Remember, be iron white means smart. Nothing is too hard if you use your head. Always be the change that you want to see in the world. Have a good evening, everybody, and thank you very much for watching.
Yep, good night, everybody.
All right.